Ahoy there and welcome to Rubber Chicken with a podcast in the middle, a podcast all about the Monkey Island series of adventure games. I'm Alistair.
I'm Gordon.
We've been Monkey Island nerds since the early 90s and we've wanted to talk about these games for a long time. Now seems like the perfect opportunity since a new Monkey Island game, Return to Monkey Island, was just announced. This is the first game in the series in over 30 years to be written and designed by two of the original three developers, Dave Grossman and series creator Ron Gilbert. In this first episode, we're going to give our thoughts on the announcement and the game's first teaser video.
Let's start by ranking your Monkey Island games in order, just off the top of your head.
Oh, easy. Revenge, Secret, Curse, Escape, Tales.
Okay,
How about
that
you?
would be the same for me. Now you and I, we have very similar history with Monkey Island, where we kind of came from the era where Secret was new. I think when we came to it, Revenge was out as well. There's only a year's difference. Yeah, so I think like they're kind of our era of game. Curse, obviously, a very important game as well. I think you and I are both a little bit shaky on our appreciation of Escape and Tales.
Yes.
Do you agree? Right, so we've had this announcement that Ron Gilbert has come back to Monkey Island for some reason.
Yeah,
all we've got so
30
far
years.
is a trailer. Yeah, it's been 30 years. Do you have any initial thoughts about that? Are you excited?
I am excited. I guess I'm cautiously optimistic. I think that this is one of those things that's been talked about for so long. It's slightly surreal to think that it's actually happening because people have been talking about this even before Ron Gilbert first speculated about it on his blog back in 2013. At the same time, I'm cautious because I know this is never going to be the Monkey Island 3 that we would have gotten in 1992 or something if it had been developed immediately.
We know that this is Gilbert and Grossman, two of the original people behind Monkey Island, but they're not the Gilbert and Grossman of 1992, 1993. It would be developing whatever game was in their mind at that point.
30 years is a very long time, and I think they are very different guys to who they were back in 1989 or whenever they started, when Gilbert first created Monkey Island and they started working on it.
That's right. There's like years of new influences, new ideas. I often feel like Ron Gilbert has said so much that he's possibly kind of retroactively decided what he wanted to do with Monkey Island 3.
Yeah, I think he probably didn't have much of an idea when he started, and he's kind of made up that he did later. Should we maybe sort of go into the history of the idea of Monkey Island 3?
I think so. So, at the end of Monkey Island 2, we're left on this cliffhanger. This kind of surreal cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger that I absolutely love, and I know a lot of people really hate.
And the point of speculation throughout the whole history of the series.
Forever. Any discussion about something that's taken place in a game after the second has always come with a caveat, but that's not what Ron Gilbert was thinking when they made Monkey Island 2, and that's no matter where you go on the internet, someone will always pipe up and say, but Ron Gilbert wouldn't have been thinking of that.
The series has developed in this completely different direction, we assume, as to what the original intention was. This cliffhanger is what we've all been speculating on for so long. There was obviously that's dealt with in the third game, The Curse of Monkey Island, to an extent. But it's somewhat explained away. So we see Guybrush at the end of Monkey Island 2 trapped as a child in the Carnival of the Damned.
Well, it wasn't even called the Carnival of the Damned.
No, exactly. Well, see, that's the thing. I'm so ingrained in this now.
That's a retcon
trapped.
I think if we think about Monkey Island 3 at the start, did Ron Gilbert have an idea for Monkey Island 3 when he finished making Monkey Island 2 and then left LucasArts? Did he have an idea? We don't know.
No, we don't know.
He talks about it as if he does. I think maybe he had some vague notions, but
Yeah,
I don't
like
know.
some ideas.
Yeah, I don't know that he had a very strong idea of what he wanted to do in a third
No.
game back then.
Plus, an idea is not a fully fleshed out game.
No.
Monkey Island 2 is so much more than just the ending.
And the biggest and most complex part of that game comes long before the famous ending. That the part 2 of that game is where the real substance of that game's puzzles are. So to think about making a Monkey Island 3 back in 1991-92, it would have, like any game, would have been a big undertaking with lots of planning and various contributors. So if there was any nascent Monkey Island 3 back in 1991, it was nascent indeed. I think only a vestige of an idea in the mind of Ron Gilbert, who didn't really feel that it was crucial that such a game get made.
No, that's right, and that's kind of another point to touch on, is the ending of Monkey Island 2 kind of perfect? Do we even really want Ron Gilbert's Monkey Island 3? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
But it works on its own as a conclusion.
So similar to how Curse kind of doesn't really, it deals with it, but it doesn't. If you've played the game, you know that various parts of it are explained, but other parts are just there's a big dialogue dump, and we never really get to the meat of what actually happened.
Yeah, and the third game that was actually developed by Jonathan Ackley and Larry Hearn, right? They had no conception of what may or may not have been intended previously, and they really only addressed the ending obliquely.
That's right.
At the end of Monkey Island 2, of course, as you were saying before, Guybrush is LeChuck's brother. Guybrush and LeChuck are brothers, and they're little kids in an amusement park. And everything that happens in Curse of Monkey Island, there's the implication that, yes, being turned into a kid in the amusement park was a spell by LeChuck, because that's what the second last part of Curse of Monkey Island is. Guybrush gets turned back into a little kid and is in the amusement park again. The significance of which meant nothing to me when I was a kid for some reason. It never quite landed with me that was even meant to connect to the ending of Monkey Island 2. The thing about them being brothers is not addressed at all anywhere in Curse of Monkey Island.
No, it just seemed too difficult, or too an obvious reference to Star Wars.
Yeah.
So they decided to start off Monkey Island 3 with Guybrush floating in a bumper car that you assume has something to do with him escaping the end of Monkey Island 2.
Yeah, and that would have been, I honestly think that would have been a great just nod to the ending of the second game, and there was no need for them to go back to the amusement park or anything.
That was kind of an odd decision at the end. Curse of Monkey Island famously rushed towards the end of development.
Yeah, and it's a great game, but it takes the series in a slightly different direction to what I think the original developers, that Ron Gilbert, Dave Grossman, and Tim Schafer, different approach to what they did. I think it was a little bit more... Curse of Monkey Island was a slightly more literal kind of pirate adventure with gothic elements and humour in it.
Which are ingredients from the previous games.
I would argue that in the first two games they exist for a different reason than why they're used in Curse. In Curse they're used partially because it's funny, partially because the first two games had stuff that was out of the ordinary or unexpected, or anachronistic. So the new game does as well. Whereas, as you know, I am a proponent of the idea that the first two games, and especially the second, are pieces of weird fiction, where the uncanny effect of the strange and discordant elements of the Monkey Island world are actually meant to engage you on kind of a deeper intellectual level and make you think about reality as and its artificiality, but I won't go into that.
Yeah, let's not go into that. Let's go completely the other way, and let's think about the trailer we've been given for Return to Monkey Island.
Ron Gilbert told me he'd never make another Monkey Island unless...
Very quick, less than 1 minute long teaser with just a bit of familiar music, LeChuck's theme from the original game, Murray the Talking Skull, fan favourite character from Curse of Monkey Island, who of course appeared in Escape from Monkey Island and Tales of Monkey Island, and the joke, of course, being made by Murray that Ron Gilbert said he'd never make another Monkey Island game unless...
And then he gets thrown in the water. Okay, so Ron Gilbert has said, I believe, previously, that he wouldn't make another Monkey Island game unless he owned the rights. I think that's right in saying.
He said
I can check
he wouldn't
that later.
make another one unless he owned the intellectual property.
Yeah.
And this very neatly leads us into yet another Monkey Island 3. We've got the Monkey Island 3 that might have been made in the early 90s. We've got the Monkey Island 3 we actually got, Curse of Monkey Island. Then we've got Monkey Island 3, the Monkey Island 3 Ron Gilbert was thinking about in 2013 when he wrote his famous blog post about what he would do if he wrote another Monkey Island, if he made another Monkey Island game. Which is, again, not going to be the Monkey Island we're getting.
No. But he worked on another Monkey Island game, which I don't like, Tales of Monkey Island. And I'm wondering if any of the elements that he was going to put into his Monkey Island 3 appeared in that. That's possibly a discussion for another time.
We can very briefly touch on the idea in 2020, I think in the podcast with the Video Game Archive, Ron Gilbert said that Monkey Island 3 would involve Guybrush Goes to Hell.
Yes.
And Guybrush does indeed die and go to the underworld in Tales of Monkey Island. So my theory is that when Ron was briefly consulted, as brief as I imagine it was for Tales, he said Guybrush Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
Probably in the expectation that he was never going to make another Monkey Island game. I'll just give them this idea.
And also, I wonder if I'm glad that he got that kind of idea out of his system, so that maybe kind of freed him up to come up with some new ideas.
Yeah, and probably something better.
Yeah, well, from the trailer, we've not given very much. There's speculation online. There's speculation online about what it means to have Murray in the trailer and then knocked into water. Does that mean that Murray, that like the post LeChuck's Revenge things, such as Murray, have been thrown away? Ron has said otherwise, that at least Monkey Island 3 is still canon.
Included. He said it doesn't go out of canon. That they were careful to include that element. And I just took it when I saw it as being a reassurance that Murray was in the game, because again, if we go back to the 2013 blog post, Ron said that he wouldn't, if he made another Monkey Island game, even though it wouldn't follow the ones he didn't make, he said he wouldn't be above using characters and elements from those games. So I think, he said he liked Curse of Monkey Island, right? He played it.
Yeah, he played it
back when it came out, didn't he?
Yeah.
And, I'm sure he'd be happy to reuse characters. And there's an expectation, I think, among the fans who maybe are a little bit less sort of, who categorize the games a bit less than we do, that characters like Murray would appear, I think.
Well, I think the broader Monkey Island fan base are fine with things like Murray, because I think you've got to remember that the Curse of Monkey Island brought lots of fans in. It was kind of the big one, the big Monkey Island game.
Yeah, it was, and Monkey Island 2 didn't do very well. It didn't sell well and wasn't played widely at the time.
Yeah, it's become a kind of fan favourite now and a cult classic, but it was the Curse of Monkey Island and that kind of late 90s cartoon art style and things that really sold the series. And then after that was the release of the Mega Monkey Pack.
Yeah,
I
think so.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that was before the release of Curse, but that kind of made those games available again, and I think made them more widely.
Right, yeah, it had the demo for Curse on it, didn't it? And that was the thing that they were drumming up a bit more interest in the series again, which is
Yes.
why that came with background information about the first two games, if for the benefit of people who hadn't played them, and I think it's also why in many respects Curse of Monkey Island, at least the first half of it, is almost like a remake of the first part of Secret,
Yeah.
because it's like, these are good ideas that much of our audience won't have been exposed to yet. Let's just
It's the
use
kind
them
of thing.
again.
It's the kind of thing that now would be referred to as a soft reboot, almost.
So, absolutely, yeah, 100%. It's a soft reboot. Yeah.
Yeah. So have we got anything more from the trailer? We've got there's speculation that the character up above the two ghosts is Guybrush walking back and forth.
That was my immediate thought when I saw it, but that could mean anything.
Could be anything. Or, the other thing is the ghosts are transparent. That character isn't transparent. It's in shadow. The design of the ghosts, there's been contention online, I know. They do look to me very much like the Secret ghosts to me.
Yes, they look like LeChuck's ghost crew from Secret of Monkey Island, and
Yeah.
the guy bringing in the boxes, in fact, looks like the first ghost who confronts you on the wharf in
Yes, I was thinking
Secret.
that too.
I'm not saying it's the same guy, but the visual influence is very clear.
Yeah, like on the Dial a Pirate wheel as well, if you just want to get very nerdy
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got that. What else have we got? The music is being composed by all of the classic LucasArts and Monkey Island composers.
Yeah. Land, Dajakian, and McConnell, they're all back, and apparently they've all worked. It wasn't just performance; it was composing.
And that's pretty
From
cool.
what-
We know that Dom's back voicing Guybrush, and we found out today that Alexandra Boyd is back voicing Elaine.
Yeah, and I think this is another thing like Murray. There was no way that they would make another Monkey Island game without Dominic Armato voicing Guybrush, even though the games didn't have voice acting when Gilbert and Grossman were developing them back in the early 90s.
No,
It's the expectation now that Dominic Armato is the voice
of Guybrush.
of Guybrush Threepwood, especially with the special editions. He has now voiced Guybrush in every game.
I like Dominic Armato in the later series. I'm not overly fond. I never play the special editions. I played through them once. I don't play them anymore when I played the first two games. But to me, I still want him to be the voice of Guybrush. I wouldn't want anyone else.
No, I can't really imagine it with anyone else these days. Even were he to look completely different, or were the game to not reference the later sequels in any way.
No.
In my head, in my head, Guybrush without voice doesn't sound like Dominic Armato.
I agree, yeah.
But
In
if
those
he
first two
is to have a
games.
voice,
Yeah, it's Dominic Armato.
it's Dominic Armato.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it.
No, that's right. I think we've got very little other information. We don't even have a release date. And that's everything.
I think the other thing that's worth mentioning is just that the website very clearly shows that the ship, which looks a bit like LeChuck's ghost ship, it has the glowing red windows from the captain's cabin, is very clearly, unless it's some kind of trick or red herring, very clearly appears to be moored in the
Melee
harbour at Melee Island from
Yes.
Secret of Monkey Island. You can even see the governor's mansion up on the cliff in the
Yes.
picture on the website. and
We
stuff.
have a picture. It's kind of a re-rendering of the intro screen from The Secret of Monkey Island, don't we? Does that appear, or am I imagining that?
It looks very similar to the special edition
Yeah.
artwork of Melee Island. It's that same view you get at the start of The Secret of Monkey Island.
Yeah, with the logo appearing. One other thing from the trailer, we get the music, the LeChuck's theme played on the violin. Well, I felt like there's a little hint of, I want to say it reminds me of Escape from Monkey Island at one point in that theme. Do you know what I'm talking about? I think there might be a trumpet or something. It's
Is
reminiscent
it the
of
bit
that
where the
music.
where the logo
The
comes
logo
up, where the
appears,
Monkey
yeah.
it says "Return to Monkey Island"? See, because I hear a little bit of the music that Jojo the Monkey's playing on the piano in Monkey Island 2
Okay,
in that,
yeah.
but
It may be the way that it's
but-
rendered with actual instruments that's making me think that.
yeah, it could be the way that it stands out
Yeah.
there.
But the view we're getting from the trailer is very reminiscent of Secret. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, it's and I guess I'll refer back to that if we talk about what we think is going to happen
Yeah,
in
well,
the game.
that's the next thing we might talk about.
I'm Guybrush Threepwood. Boy, am I getting tired of saying this. Mighty pirate, yada yada yada.
What do we think they're going to do?
I mentioned this to you the other day. I am just guessing, given the promotional material. I think the game is going to start on Melee Island, possibly with little to no explanation of how Guybrush got there from the end of LeChuck's Revenge. I think there's going to be a big nostalgia element of him even potentially walking in from the side of the screen to talk to the lookout like he does at the start of Secret. I can even picture this being like almost like there's a bit of a loop or a bit something slightly circular in Guybrush's life going on here, that he's back where that sort of the end of Monkey Island 2 was almost broke the illusion or something, and now things have kind of reverted back to where they began.
Yeah, things have come back round to him being a pirate, do you think?
Yeah.
What else do I think they'll do? I think we'll have cameos from Murray and Stan. I think that Guybrush and Elaine will be married.
Yeah, I think he's probably just going to retain that aspect from Curse rather than... because I think people expect that now as well, even though he said he wouldn't do it.
I don't think we're going to have big references to Escape and Tails, Escape especially. I don't think we're going to get anything about the gubernatorial symbol or a giant monkey robot.
Or the ultimate insult.
Yes.
Herman Toothrot is Captain Marley. I don't think we're going to...
That's going to be interesting if that's retained or not. Is Herman Toothrot going to be Herman Toothrot? Is it not even going to be mentioned?
I doubt stuff like that's going to come up. Although I would kind of like Herman to appear because he was in the first two of the original games as well.
Yeah, like one of those stamps of those games.
I would like to see the Men of Low Moral Fibre appear as well, because they were also in both of the first two games.
It sounds like what we expect they're going to do is a lot of fan servicey things, bringing all these characters
That's what
back.
I think, because I think that Ron Gilbert probably is going to think that he's putting a clever spin on it. On some way. And I don't say that to criticise him. I think he's a very clever man. But I think he would enjoy a lot of... to really focus on what I expect a lot of self-referential humour about how long it's been since he and Grossman actively worked on the series. I would expect humour about LucasArts being bought out by Disney, or Lucasfilm, I should say, being bought out by Disney. I think that's going to be referenced possibly quite overtly.
Yes.
I think there's going to be humour about possibly even references to things in the games that, are not Secret of Monkey Island or LeChuck's Revenge.
No, I think you're right. I think we might... This is an idea I had. We might be seeing an older Guybrush. Even though you don't have to actually do that because it's a game, we might be seeing like Guybrush at 50.
Yeah, I think potentially it could, in a manner of speaking, be set, however this works, after Tales of Monkey Island.
Yeah.
I think there's where he was already depicted as being in, I don't know, his 30s at the very least. I think I think there's going to be an element of kind of Curse, Escape, and Tales happened, but
forget about it.
We're not actually referring to anything that happened in any of them that's of any significance.
Yeah. I think there might be some minor, possibly snide references.
Yeah.
It's hard to speculate. And the other thing is, I don't know where you go with the game, because if we look at Ron's other game, Thimbleweed Park, which is his kind of ode to the retro period, ode to those Maniac Mansion, Zack McCracken era games, he's done his story about adventure games being adventure games.
Yeah.
But now you've got Monkey Island 6/3A, and it needs to go somewhere. It can't just be wallowing around in the end of Monkey Island 2.
Yeah, and I think it's not going to.
No. Well, from there, let's talk about what we hope they don't do.
Welcome back to Mutual of Stan.
What don't you want to see?
I don't want some lame reveal of what the secret of Monkey Island actually is.
Yeah. I don't want it all wrapped up in a package.
Yeah. Obviously, Ron Gilbert's joked about it before. I hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Honestly, this is the secret of Monkey Island. This is what happened at the end of LeChuck's Revenge. This is heaps of more backstory about the Elaine and the 4 map pieces. All of that stuff.
Yeah. All of that. No, I don't want any of that.
As I said before, I don't want big references to Tails and Escape. The ultimate insult. Things like that.
Yeah, Spongia Grande or anything.
Yeah. That's the thing with Tails. I haven't played through the whole thing a second time. And I'm kind of unwilling to do it anyway.
Well, I have played through it a second time and I really didn't enjoy my second playthrough. Again, I know some people really love Tails, but
that's fine.
It's far from my favorite. I think I said it. I think it's the worst one. But and speaking of, I don't want to see. Other than Murray, I don't want to see any characters from those later games. I think Murray's the only one that you need to have. I don't want to see, I don't know, like Morgan Le Fay or something. I don't think any of those characters are going to be in it.
I think the one character we haven't mentioned is the voodoo lady, who I assume will be in it.
Yeah, well, I think we can take for granted that she's going to be in it.
Yeah. And the other thing I don't want it to be is a similar thing to Thimbleweed Park, where it's all about Guybrush being trapped in a video game, or I don't want it to be to solve it about him being cursed and he was all in a big circus or something.
Yeah, if there's any kind of connection to the ending of LeChuck's Revenge, I want it to be something more interesting than he's just a kid in an amusement park. Because you can do more with that idea than just he was a kid in an amusement park. Not in the sense of like he was under a spell, more like, I think the way I've always thought of it is the ending of LeChuck's Revenge can be that he was a kid in an amusement park and that he wasn't at the same time.
Yeah.
I think people struggle with that idea that, like, this is something, David Lynch could do really easily.
Yeah, well, Lynch is an obvious example there, yeah. It's like he's both of these things. And like...
Yeah, one doesn't have to be more true than the other.
It's kind of this idea that, like, everyone is thinking of themselves in one way but also existing visibly in another, that kind of idea. They could be toying with these kind of ideas in the game, but at the same time, it's still going to be like a funny pirate adventure game.
Yeah, in terms of things I don't want to see, this was just the last one. I don't want to see Monkey Island.
No, well, I think that's something I brought up to you the other day.
Yeah.
That I feel like one thing we haven't talked about is the title, Return to Monkey Island. I feel like that might be a joke in itself, where Guybrush never actually returns to Monkey Island. Maybe he needs to return to Monkey Island for some reason, or is being forced to return to Monkey Island, but he won't actually return to Monkey Island.
Yeah.
Dinky Island is meant to be close to Monkey Island, right?
Only in Curse.
Only in Curse, that's... Okay, this is where I get bogged down.
Again, there's nothing about that in LeChuck's. Take it from someone who has data mined that transcript of LeChuck's Revenge more extensively than maybe anyone. The man who discovered the lost cutscene years before Video Game Archive revealed it.
Okay, that brings us along to what we would do. What would you do if you were given the keys to Monkey Island 3A?
But if a woodchuck could chuck and would chuck some amount of wood, what amount of wood would a woodchuck chuck?
As I mentioned to you the other day, what I want, apart from it to have good puzzles and be funny, and funny in the way that the first two were, I just want it to be really weird. I want there to be weird stuff in it that doesn't quite fit, but not in the sense of like, Guybrush talked about electrical wiring in the Caribbean, and more like, why the hell is that there?
Yeah.
Kind of thing that leaves you with that feeling of the uncanny.
Right. Do you mean like, there's a grog machine, like a Coke machine, that's funny, but also that's a little weird?
Well, it's like the grog machine, Coke machine is funny. Then once you see it in the tunnels under Dinky Island at the end of Monkey Island 2, then it's less funny and more unsettling. Not because Guybrush is a kid, more because what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And maybe it's something that we can't understand. And maybe the point is that life doesn't make sense, and that's why it's there.
Yeah, well, I feel like if a game that comes out in 2022 is able to touch on that kind of thing and get people to get in touch with that kind of thought, I'll be pretty impressed.
Yeah, I'd be surprised.
Yes. I was trying to think about what I would do, and I would definitely want to keep it weird. I almost feel like I'd be better off being asked when I was 6 years old as to what I would do with a new Monkey Island game, where I would have all of these crazy ideas. And now I feel like I would be too bogged down in trying to copy what came before, trying to come up with something new and trying to do my own thing. And there are so many examples in kind of modern popular fiction where all this stuff's we have these soft reboots and sequels coming out and things where the spirit of the thing is never captured. So what I would want to do is come up with a way to capture the spirit of those original games.
Yeah, I think it definitely as well, because Monkey Island, it's much lower down on the ladder, but this is kind of Lucasfilm's third biggest property after Star Wars and Indiana Jones. They've made some very controversial decisions with Star Wars.
Yes.
I'm not optimistic about the fifth Indiana Jones. Hopefully Lucasfilm's own level of involvement in this game was limited. I hope their whole role as co-producers was just to say, yes, you're allowed to use this intellectual property and we get a cut of the profits.
Yeah. Well, I guess this feels a bit like they would have... It's almost like if they'd taken Indiana Jones off Spielberg in the 90s and then given it back to him now.
Yeah.
Same with Star Wars. I was thinking about that. This is kind of the next one, but it's so much further down.
So much lower down, yeah. But it is the third biggest property that Lucasfilm has ever created.
I believe so. Definitely the third most recognisable.
Yeah, and I wanted to say on that note, I'm not expecting anything amazing. I hope it's good. I'm not expecting the greatest adventure game that's ever been made. Honestly, I'm not even expecting a terribly satisfying follow-up to the first two Monkey Island games. I just hope that it's good, that it's funny, and it's got good puzzles, and it's weird. I think it's been so long since... It's been so long. Like, that's a ridiculous amount of time. 30 years between... 31 it's going to be when it comes out. It's never going to... Just like Curse, it's never going to be the real sequel to Monkey Island 2. That sequel was never going to be made and will never exist. And I think some people want to imagine that if Ron Gilbert ever went back to it, you would get this platonic ideal of the perfect third Monkey Island game. But it doesn't exist. I just hope it's good. And I think there's a very real possibility that, this is going to be the thing. People in the future will be debating what was a better third game, this or Curse of Monkey Island. And I think a lot of people who are very fond of Curse of Monkey Island, which they have every right to be because it's a very fine game, will still prefer that.
Well, as I was saying to you the other day, I'm a big fan of Curse of Monkey Island. I'm still kind of a hardcore Ron era fan, but it's got a hard job to beat Curse out. That's a great game, and it's built with almost kind of a similar amount of complexity and atmosphere and immersion as the first two games, I would argue.
I think that there's some stuff that, as I said before, it treats differently, but as a funny adventure game with challenging puzzles, it's pretty much up there with the first two.
Yeah.
It's more just different than being greater or lesser. Just a different take on it. Maybe a take that doesn't quite give me the same feeling, that uncanny, appealing feeling that I love that the first two and especially the second one do. But it's still a great game, and that Blood Island section has all that awesome gothic creepy weirdness. And as stupid as the idea of LeChuck building a theme park that kills people is, it also has that kind of appeal, that grotesque appeal to it, which is one of the things that I think makes Curse fit well. And again, not to overemphasize these elements, but I think that's why it's the one that's most of the three games that were made by different teams to continue the series. That's a reason why it's the best and the most effective.
Yeah. I just wonder if we're able to get that same kind of level of complexity and puzzle, but also entertainment in the puzzles. I'm thinking about like insult sword fighting. When you encounter that for the first time, that seems like such a funny and creative idea. And it's such a novelty. And I just wonder if... I can't see this game having that kind of level of interesting puzzle. I feel like we're going to get more pick up object, use object on.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's going to be that level of innovation. I think this will be a more traditional point-and-click adventure game like Thimbleweed Park was.
Yeah, but I'd love to be proven wrong. And I think as very long-term Monkey Island fans, it's hard not to be excited about this. And it's fun to be excited about it, to let oneself
definitely. I think, I feel, as I say, I feel optimistic. I think the game will be good. Thimbleweed Park was good, except for the ending.
That's the thing with adventure games, and this is a subject we could probably discuss at length. I think it might be actually hard to know how to end them in a satisfying way.
Yeah.
Just structure-wise. And I think actually The Secret of Monkey Island doesn't have that interesting an ending either. I think Monkey Island 2 is kind of one of the few adventure games that does actually have a satisfying ending.
Yeah.
You may not realise it at first. You might feel like a frustrating cliffhanger, especially if you're a kid playing it. But it's the one that keeps you thinking afterwards. You enjoy the experience and the end, rather than just the experience and then it flitters out.
Yeah, and it's the one that people have been, cudgeling their brains over for 30 years. That's truly a testament to how great that ending is.
That's the real gift of that game, is that we never got that ending.
Yeah.
And I don't want that ending, but I am interested to see what we're going to get next. All right, do you have anything else to say at this very early point about Return to Monkey Island?
No, I think there'll be much to talk about later, and I think there's a huge wealth of stuff to talk about in the meantime about what's come before.
But I think we're planning on touching on some stuff in the meantime, and I'd be interested to check in as more details about this surface.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to the Rubber Chicken with a podcast in the middle, the only podcast that asks what's mightier, your sword or your wit. I've been Gordon.
I'm Alistair.
And
Look behind you! A three-headed monkey!